Hi everyone. There are a lot of videos out there where people list their favorite Beatles albums, rank them from their least favorite to their favorite. And here comes another one. I'm going to do my own. It's been quite a hard decision to make for me because I like all their albums, like everyone I think does, all the Beatles fans. It's hard for them to pick a favorite, I think. Um, Of course, everyone has their own opinions on this, and this is mine, so you're probably going to disagree with quite a bit of my list. My tastes for the Beatles albums tend to range from like 1966 on. I love a lot of the early songs, don't get me wrong, but they're just not something I listen to constantly. My taste tends just to lean towards the later stuff. So you're probably going to see where this list is going to end up anyway. But we'll start at number 10. And if you'll excuse me, I don't have all the albums or CDs to hold up like a lot of the other videos do. A lot of people in their videos do. Um, Through the years, the CDs have been in cases for my car and have been misplaced. A lot of the stuff I have now is on digital, on a USB drive that's in my car. So if you'll bear with me, I have a list here that I'm going to read from. So if I'm looking down, that's all it is. It's not a big deal, I don't think. But if you're wondering what I'm doing, that's all it is. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom up, and there's 13 studio albums that we're going to be looking at today that I'll be ranking. And number 13 is Beatles for Sale. And this is honestly an album that I tend to forget exists, which is probably sad, but there's not many songs that I really like from it. I mean, of course, like I said earlier, I like everything, but preference-wise, there's two songs that stand out on it for me, which is No Reply and Every Little Thing, which, two John songs, which I tend to lean towards anyway. I tend to lean towards his Beatles music. Solo-wise, which we'll get to another time, I lean towards Paul McCartney's solo music as opposed to John. But Beatles is mostly John Lennon songs that I appreciate and like more. I don't know why. That's just my taste, I guess, which is goofy. But anyway, number 12, Please Please Me. One of the early ones, with a lot of cover songs and just a lot of songs I skip over when they come on in my car or on the radio. I just tend to zone out, kind of. But of course, I saw her standing there. Everyone likes that song, especially when Paul does it live. Who doesn't love that song, right? You have to pick that one. And Twist and Shout. I mean, that's standard Beatles. Everyone knows that song. So you can't not pick that song as a favorite, right? That's common sense, I think. Even people who don't like the Beatles know that song. A lot of people remember it from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which I can't stand that movie, but that's another story. So, it's one of those party songs. You hear it at birthday parties and, playing at football stadiums and baseball parks and just everywhere that song comes on, and you're always like, oh, it's the Beatles. Anyway, we'll keep going here. Number 11, Meet the Beatles. And I know a lot of people are purists and are going to say With the Beatles, but I grew up with my dad's copy of Meet the Beatles, which he had since he was a kid. So it's the American version. And, maybe I've never had a quality stereo where I can't tell the difference between mono and stereo. I don't get into that audiophile stuff that a lot of people do. If I probably would if I had the ability to do so, but so I'm sticking with just the regular old versions, what I know, nothing fancy. I Want to Hold Your Hand, that's one of the standards, like I saw her standing there. You have to pick it just because. It's one of those that it's always on. You always know it's there. You can always appreciate it. It Won't Be Long. That's just a fun little song with all the callbacks with the yas and kind of get your toes tapping there. And I Want to Be Your Man. I mean, come on, we got to have some Ringo love, right? And that's pretty much one of his staples that he does on his all-star tours. You gotta love that song, though. I mean, it's just so good. And I like the Stones version too, but Ringo's version is obviously the best one. So moving to number 10 is Help. I like the movie. I love the movie, I should say. It's hilarious and I could watch it all the time. But the album, the songs I could give or take. It's not really, something I would pop in and listen to constantly. I know a lot of people probably do. Beetle Babe, who's making her own top 13 list here that I'm going to link to. I'm sure this is probably her number one, if not her top 3. So I'm sorry it's so low, but again, my opinion here. You gotta love Help, of course, the opening song. Ticket to Ride, I Need You, The Night Before. That's pretty much it, I suppose. There's not much. I still skip some of these songs, I'll be honest with you. I have to be in the mood to listen to some of them. But they're all great. I mean, how can you pick and choose? I mean, this list is really hard to do for me, but, if I had to make a mixtape, or, excuse me, we don't do mixtapes anymore. If I had to make a playlist, these are the songs I would pick on my playlist. So number 9, this is probably really low for a lot of you, but Rubber Soul is my number 9 pick. It's a great album, very influential. I mean, Brian Wilson listened to it and wrote Pet Sounds. I mean, you can't get much better than that. As far as the music, though, I mean, there's some filler songs on there, I think. My favorites on Rubber Soul, Norwegian Wood, Nowhere Man, and In My Life. So 3 John songs. Are you surprised yet? Those 3, I don't really skip too much when they come on. You have to, appreciate those 3 songs, I think, out of the whole album. Those are the strongest ones that I think are on there. Number 8 is A Hard Day's Night. Again, love the movie. Could watch it over and over again. But at the same time, the music, there's a good handful of songs I like on there. The title track, of course. Tell Me Why, I'll Cry Instead. I Should Have Known Better, and Can't Buy Me Love. So mostly John songs again. Can't Buy Me Love is, one of the best parts of the movie, I think, when they're running through the fields and goofing around. It's just so much fun to watch them do that, and then they get in trouble at the end, of course. I think that sequence alone kind of influenced the guys who made the Monkees to make the Monkees, because it's everything the Monkees does on their show when they do the little romps to their songs, it's so reminiscent of Can't Buy Me Love and that scene in A Hard Day's Night that you have to love it, just because the Monkees are, an homage to the Beatles, you could put it that way, but they're a lot of fun too. You gotta love them. I'm rambling here, so we'll keep going. Number 7. Now, again, you are probably going to be upset at my pick here, but Let It Be. Now, what can I say? It is classic. You gotta love the song. I can't say I love the movie. It's interesting and painful to watch, but some of the footage in there is really great. I mean, the rooftop, of course. You can't go wrong with the Beatles performing their last show. And Billy Preston is just there, and love it every second of it. He's so much fun to watch. And then, the part with Ringo and Heather McCartney and the sequence for Two of Us is just so, amazing. You can't go wrong there. So my favorites from Let It Be are Two of Us, Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, I Me Mine, and then the whole rooftop section with I've Got a Feeling, One After 909, For You Blue. I don't think that's on the roof though, but I love that song. That's a great George song. That's one you could really get into and get back, because that's just a classic. When Paul does it live, that's one that everyone gets up on their feet for and everyone knows. And it's one thing about concerts with popular people. When they play their less popular songs, everyone goes to get a beer or goes to the bathroom. And geeks like me are, singing every word and dancing around like a fool. I mean, I saw Paul a couple of years ago in Tinley Park in Illinois, and he did Temporary Secretary in his set, and I just about flipped out. I think I lost my voice screaming badly every word to that song just because it's so random. I love that song since forever. It's such a dumb song. I'm sorry, but it is. But it's fun. I mean, that's Paul. That's what he does best, right? So anyway, I guess I gotta throw Let It Be in there too, but I have to be in the mood to actually listen to it. It's one of those sad songs that, what are you gonna do, right? You have to. I don't know how to explain it. You guys probably know what I'm talking about though, because you're all Beatles fans. There's some songs that you're in the mood to listen to, and there's some that you could, lose that day. It's everyone's favorite seems to change at a given time. So we're on to number 6, which is the Yellow Submarine soundtrack or song track, whichever one you prefer. The George Martin stuff I love, but I don't listen to it constantly. It's something that, again, you have to be in the mood for. Just have it on in the background when you're doing other things. But all the rest of the songs, every single song on there is top. I mean, Yellow Submarine, I could, again, better live when you're there hearing Ringo sing it in person. But I have a cousin who's 6 who absolutely loves the movie and the song, and he could listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm kind of dead on Yellow Submarine, but it's still a fun song. But Only a Northern Song, It's All Too Much, 2 great George Harrison songs. I mean, I don't understand why he didn't get more songs on the albums. I know that's a big thing in the Beatles fandom and community, but he was putting out some good stuff at the end there, and he proves it with his solo career. But there's some really great later George Harrison songs that you just have to listen to and enjoy. All Together Now is just fun. It reminds me of Beatlefest. Hey Bulldog also reminds me of Beatlefest. When they re-released the Yellow Submarine movie, and that sequence in the movie with Hey Bulldog wasn't in the movie originally. So they had Martin Lewis, who is a Beatles historian, come and share the footage it was a world premiere footage of the Hey Bulldog sequence. No one has seen it in I don't know how long. But it was just incredible to see that footage for the first time, and I will always have fond memories of that song. And when you turn the bass up in your car listening to that song, and it kicks. I mean, my seats rumble. It's great. And All You Need Is Love, because, that's such a classic song. Everyone, I think, knows that one as much as, like, I Want to Hold Your Hand and Love Me Do and She Loves You. That's one of their signature songs, I think. So moving on to number 5, which is probably going to be a surprise to people that it's so high up on the list and I haven't said it yet. Magical Mystery Tour. Again, love the movie. It's so out there, but I mean, what kind of Beatles fan doesn't love seeing them do the things in Magical Mystery Tour? I mean, they go around the countryside and they're playing with the little girl in the balloon, and there's just stuff in there that just melts your heart. I mean, come on, let's be real here. It's pretty incredible footage of the best band ever. You're never going to see anything like it. If you haven't seen Magical Mystery Tour because of whatever you've heard about it and how terrible it is, just ignore that and check it out because you won't regret it. I literally like every single song on Magical Mystery Tour. I don't listen to it all the time, but when the songs come on, I have to listen to them. So I'll read the songs to you, but you probably know what they are anyway. Of course, the title track, Fool on the Hill. I love Flying. It's the only song that all four Beatles got writing credit on. And it's just, I know it's an instrumental and they sing the little parts, all four of them together, but it's just so fun. It's one of those songs that you hear and it puts a smile on my face anyway. Blue Jay Way, that whole sequence in the movie is trippy, but I love the chalk um, keyboard and stuff that George pretends to play, and it's just so George. It's great. Your Mother Should Know, another great part of the movie. I Am the Walrus. That song is still blows my mind. I listen to that whenever it comes on. I have to. Hello Goodbye, of course. This is like the second side here with Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane. Baby You're a Rich Man is such a good song. That's another one that the bass in the car just blasts. There's a band that plays at Beatle Fest and around like New Jersey mostly. They're called the Weaklings. I don't know if you guys are aware of them. They have an awesome cover of Baby You're a Rich Man. I highly recommend it. I should link it actually because it's great. It's All Too Much is such a good George Harrison song. You listen to the words from that and it's perfection. It doesn't get much better than that. And All You Need Is Love Again, which we, hit on a little bit already, I think. It's another one of those classic ones there. And then we're moving on to number 4, which is Revolver. Which, this album is heavy. You have to admit that. There's something, you have to be ready for Revolver, I think. Your mindset. But I do like most of the songs on it, obviously. I wouldn't rank it so high otherwise. Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, Love You Too, which a lot of people can't get into. And I didn't appreciate it when I was a kid. But now that I'm older, I can appreciate the sitar, Indian influenced songs from George because they're just so good. Listen to the lyrics more than the music. If you don't like the music, just listen to George because your mind will open up to things that you never realized would happen before, and that's no exaggeration. She said, Good Day Sunshine, and Your Bird Can Sing, For No One. That's such a gorgeous song. Have you seen Give My Regards to Broad Street, the Paul McCartney movie with Ringo? The version of For No One in that is legendary. That's so good. I Want to Tell You is another great George one. And Tomorrow Never Knows. I mean, how that song should not be a thing, it seems like, because it's so different. But it pushed so many boundaries and influenced this whole psychedelic era, I think. That's one of the main songs that I think spurred it on. You could argue that or not, but it seems like with the Beatles' influence that would make sense. So moving on to number 3, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Most people would have it like 1 or 2. 3 is good for me. It's one of those the albums where I'm not going to name all the songs because you guys know the album. But this one I do like every single song on here. But I prefer to listen to it all the way through because the songs just flow into one another so well. I mean, some of them are obviously meant to. Sgt. Pepper's and With a Little Help from My Friends. Those two obviously are supposed to go together. And then the reprise at A Day in the Life. But when you listen to the album as a whole, it's just perfect. Every sequence and how they put the songs in order is just a masterpiece. And you can't go wrong with Sgt. Pepper. If you're going to have anyone, I think, listen to the Beatles, put on Sgt. Pepper for them all the way through. And although it's a little out there for them, I mean, like She's Leaving Home and A Day in the Life and songs like that are just going to, I would hope, have them appreciate the Beatles and their influence and what they did. Number 2 is Abbey Road. Now that's such a perfect album, but I don't like every song on it. Like I could skip Maxwell's Silver Hammer And I Want You just goes on a little bit too long for my taste. But I mean, the rest of it is, I mean, even Octopus's Garden I love, of course. And I've seen Ringo do that live, and it was just so much fun. And he should do that more live, actually. But not my call there, Ringo, if you're watching Octopus's Garden, okay? Do it. Um, so, come together and something. And oh, darling, the three songs that open that album. An artist would die to have just one of those, but to have three open the album like that, that's just amazing. Here Comes the Sun is probably one of the most gorgeous songs, that and Something from that. I mean, like I said, George in the later years of the Beatles was just, I don't know what he was on or what influenced him, but he was just killing it. And it's a shame that he didn't have more input. Because I have to be in the mood for that one, but it is great. And then, of course, You Never Give Me Your Money, that goes into the Sun King medley, which goes into the Golden Slumbers and Carry That Weight in the end. And then it ends with, Her Majesty, which is just a fun little Paul, typical Paul, but it's fun. And you can sing along to it. And it's sad that, their career kind of ends with Let It Be and Abbey Road, even though there's some of their strongest songs on there. You could tell they saw it coming. They were all kind of doing their own thing and recording without one another. And you can't tell by listening to it, but it was going on. So it kind of, makes you a little sad to listen to those albums, but I love it. And my number one favorite Beatles album of all time, without question, is the White Album. And I know a lot of people don't care for it too much because there are some filler songs on there. I agree. But as a whole, there's more songs on that album that I love the best than any other Beatles song or Beatles album. And you could argue because it's a double album, that's why. But I don't think that's the case because like Sgt. Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour, I love every single song on there. And Yellow Submarine, when it, take away the George Martin stuff, I love every single song on there. I don't love every single song on the White Album, or even like every single song on the White Album. But the handful of songs that I do love, they're quality. I mean, Dear Prudence is my absolute favorite Beatles song, and it always will be. And I skip Back in the USSR to get to Dear Prudence because I just love that song. Glass Onion, Bungalow Bill, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, again, George, come on. Savoy Truffle, of course. Happiness is a Warm Gun. People could probably protest against that song for obvious reasons, but I love it. U2 does a great cover version of that too. Martha, My Dear is a fun song. This is like the album with all the animal titles in it, if you've noticed. It's very animal-y. Not Pink Floyd animals, Beatles animals here. I'm So Tired. Of course, you gotta listen to that when you're half asleep, right? Blackbird, Piggies, Rocky Raccoon. And then you got Don't Pass Me By Ringo, which again, I've heard him do it live, and he should do that more too. It's just a fun little song that he wrote. You gotta love it. I mean, how could you not love Ringo, right? Your Blues, which is kind of, John at his darkest, one of his darkest moments, I would say, and probably people don't like to listen to him wanting to kill himself, but it's an awesome rock song. You listen to that part of it and kind of ignore the other part, and it's okay. Mother Nature's Son is such a calming, lovely Paul song. Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey. That's one is great to jam out to. I love the little subtle Paul screams throughout the song. I'm sure you've heard it and probably didn't even realize it, but it seems like a lot of rap songs later on have taken that little scream throughout the whole song and added it in. I don't know if anyone else has made that connection. I'm sure they have because I'm not that smart. So I'm sure a lot of people have, but I just love that. Where am I at? Oh, Helter Skelter, of course. Honey Pie. Wild Honey Pie I could give or take, but Honey Pie is just fun Paul sappiness. Cry Baby Cry is a great way to, I think, end the album. You know, Revolution 9, could listen to it once and be done with it. Good Night, you know, I love Ringo, but not into him singing like a lullaby like that. It doesn't suit his voice at all, in my opinion. You know, I love it. I actually love the, I forgot what take it was on the White Album Deluxe edition that they just released, but I actually love that version better than the one that they released on the regular album. It's just a little bit more suitable for his voice and tone, I think. But again, what do I know? So that's it. Sorry this has been so long. I hope you liked it, my opinions here. If you want to comment, please do comment below and please subscribe. I'll be back with another video. I don't know what it will be, but we'll see, right? We're just getting started here. It's trying to figure everything out, but you know, I'm trying my best. I'm not very comfortable with the camera, but I'm getting there. Thanks for watching. My cat's dying to get out. Talk to you soon.